state of the nation and setting compass for the incoming administration. Of course, we will not forget to x-ray some of the achievements of the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari, who will be leaving office in few weeks' time. From my immediate left is Amadi Collins. Amadi Collins is a political analyst and a grassroots politician. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much, DPO. Good morning. Good morning, viewers.
Okay, and of course, a perfect gentleman, Benedict Ochiago, a political analyst, will be joining us to join voice or lend his voice to the discussion. Welcome to the show, Benedict.
It's a pleasure being here.
Okay, let's just kickstart with you, Benedict. Looking at President Muhammadu Buhari's administration, a lot has been said about this administration, and of course, if there's one striking thing Nigerians are still trying to strike a balance with, is the fact that the administration is giving credit to themselves, that they've done well. In your opinion, what's your assessment on this administration?
Well, it is very, very easy, a Helium task to assess this administration, because on one side, I would feel being an outgoing president or administration that we should be able to give a level of credit to certain areas of administration. But unfortunately, we are almost scratching the rock to get one or two tangible things that we can say that this administration has perfectly presented as a scorecard while they are living. But also, is a difficult thing, like I said, Praise, is a difficult thing, because in my heart, I want to be able to state that, okay, we can give the outgoing president credit for this, we can give him credit for that, so that we'll have a balance of thoughts. But it's becoming a very difficult thing, because living with 20 million, according to UNESCO, 20 million out of school children, 133 million people living in extreme poverty, and also living the office with the dollar at 740, 750, and then against the 200, 190, you met it. And a whole lot of administrative hiccups. For example, the institutions that President Muhammadu Buhari met, of course, those institutions were not perfect when he came in, but we were expecting that when he was coming in, considering his presumed antecedents that people projected before us while he was campaigning in 2014, 2015, we expected to see a stronger institutions, but unfortunately we have ended up seeing weaker institutions, which is a very, very terrible thing to say, and all of that. And then also we expected that the president will fight corruption, which was the mantra of his campaign, which was the cardinal point why Nigerians went out en masse to clamor for him in 2014, 2015. But right now, Nigeria is ranked among the most corrupt nation in the world under his watch. So it's quite an unfortunate situation that we are this position right now. But that is where we are.
Okay, let's take it from the angle of security. If there's any assurance Nigerians got from General Muhammadu Buhari, was that he was going to fight corruption squarely. And of course, insecurity will be a thing of the past. But it seems we are just waking up to pockets of attack in some part of the nation. Collins Amadi.
Take it or leave it. Every administration has its game, no matter how you seize it. For me, it may not have been 100% perfect or 85% perfect, but to an extent, he has also fared well, especially in the area of security you have talked about. Because before he came in, many a time we easily forget where we were. The honest thing is to assess people by not having a pre if we go back to our pre-Buhari administration, you will understand that we were almost at the level of no mercy. No mercy in the sense that invariably all the local government were held ransom. And you know that when things have gone wrong, or when you're bringing up your child and you give an opportunity for your child to become wayward, to start to rehabilitate the child is not an easy task. So Nigeria was in a state of comatose and he needed a rehabilitation. And he came and started rehabilitating. While he was rehabilitating Zamfara, some ran back to Borno. While he was in Borno, some ran to Niger. While he was in Niger, some ran to Anambra. So it was something that though was not completely holistic, that we have a template that were drawn to manage all at the same time. But we were focusing on that immediate area where we had issues as it were as at that time. But however, we will still give glory to God who has still kept us together, one as a nation, that under his watch, because there were a lot of attack as well by those who were politically misgruntled and wanted to use the insecurity also as a way to create a lot of tension and chaos to completely reduce Nigeria as a state. You know, we saw a lot of information who were coming then. He wants to Islamize Nigeria. They have rounded the whole place. Notable Nigerians who ordinarily ought to be a statesman were the one propagating this falsehood. And this falsehood, at times, in order to make it a reality, they were working tediously to make sure it comes to reality. But he was also fighting that underneath, because not everything the ordinary citizens will be notified. Because there are some things they call state secrets. At that level, you do an intelligence work, you do an oversight in a way that, even though it's an oversight, but people wouldn't see. So that's exactly to we had a lot of challenges he was fighting. But we believe now that his administration is elapsing. There are some foot foundation probably that should have been set on the area of security. It will now make the next administration understand that these were the approaches that this immediate or this outgoing administration put in. There were a lot of successes in this area and there were none. So there's already a foot to which they cannot stand on fighting security. So that's on security that you actually act. In some other area like infrastructure, you will give it to the administration. By way of works, though we may say some region did not 100% benefit or even 40% benefit, like though when it comes to federal presence, I do not think we even 20% benefited at any level. But we were just there. But there are other regions that actually got benefit of the infrastructure of federal government, like the West, some part of the West precisely, and not precisely almost all the facets of the northern region enjoy the infrastructure. But unfortunately, we had agencies and ministry ordinarily that would have helped facilitate for the South. That is why some of these institutions or agencies were created that will assist us. Like the NDDC, the Niger Delta Ministry, and all of that. Votes go in there. And their main essence was to help to build infrastructure for this region. But they were doing enough of busybody. Brothers were fighting brothers. Brothers were making sure boards were not launched or commissioned in order for them to work. There were a lot of internal lingering, even among those who ought to go and introduce and bring in that benefit which we wanted. And that is why we have lacked over the time. If you see in the north or even in the southwest, even when they had political issue as it were, but when it comes to appointing their own to help bring or attract development, they don't come as an impediment to themselves.
So are you saying
they allow its role?
Are you saying in the south they don't know how to support themselves?
Yes, here in the south we have a way of pinching our own. Pitching on our own so that we will use it to campaign against them and say when he was there, what did he do? And most times they even encourage themselves not to work, but to maybe to steal with the little opportunity they have, just to make sure you don't work so that you will not advance politically above them. So they will really encourage you so that if you both meet in the contest tomorrow, the same person will tell him more and ask him when he was there, what did he do for
I'll come back to you. Let's quickly. You were smiling while he was reacting. You want to, you have a take?
I really feel for Comrade Collins. He's somebody I admire so much.
You feel for me?
Yes, because it's a very tedious work trying to look for how to defend this current administration and trying to bring a scorecard for them so that we can appraise. But for me, I am speaking as a Nigerian.
Okay, me, I'm speaking as a Ghanaian.
Well, he has the floor now.
Yeah.
No, he would have just attacked his statement.
I would like you to respect
no,
that.
I know I will, but bringing me in and making me feel as if I saw something.
Colin Samadi, he has the floor
think
now.
it
You want
Speaking
Benedict.
as a politician, I'm speaking as a Nigerian. I've never been a card-carrying member of any political party. And I've been around for some time. And I understand and I know where Nigeria was before President Muhammadu Buhari took over and where it is right now. If you do proper analysis, open-minded analysis, you will understand that there are more failures right now than progress.
In what areas?
From
now?
where he took over. For example, when he took over in 2015, there were pockets of insecurity, but Nigerians can still easily travel or en route the road from Abuja to Kaduna in 2015, before he took over. Nigerians can still travel via the southern region. For example, the most the one we can easily relate to in this part of the country in Benin is from Benin to Abuja, the Auchi Road. Nigerians were able to travel along that road. But since President Muhammadu Buhari took over, I've not been able, okay, I think it was once when I was going to Auchi, but going to Abuja, I have never been able, fear would not even allow me enter a bus to Abuja now. I can't do that. I had to fly, which is more expensive. And a whole lot of other things. So when he was talking about President Muhammadu Buhari coming to rehabilitate. I think Buhari came mainly to rehabilitate himself. And that is what he has succeeded in doing. And now Nigeria as a system, because this country belongs to every one of us, and we are seeing it. Nigeria as a nation has not prospered under Muhammadu Buhari, under this current administration.
But there are still successes recorded.
The president himself has apologized. Although, as Nigeria, me personally, I'm not accepting the apology. Because when he knew that what he met on the ground, that he doesn't have the capacity to handle it, which was obvious right from the time he took over. After some time, he was supposed to tender resignation. That is what a honorable man does. But he refused to do that. And the end, when you have plundered the country and run the country aground, you are coming to apologize. And so when you are saying the South, they were their own undoing, what progress will you count on collectively in the northern region? I do travel to the north. Of course, I think the last time I traveled to them was in 2021. Okay, I flew to Abuja and the en route road I went to the north. They were no meaningful thing you can count on. I think this administration is more of propaganda, is more of trying to defend what is not defendable than bringing reality on ground. Nigeria has been taken aback. We know that the previous administration, the PDP administration, there were a whole lot of loopholes, and we expected that this administration will do better, but they have done worse, obviously worse than what the PDP administration did. Okay. It's obvious. On every fact and figures will tell you that.
Okay. All right, now, we are not campaigning anyway for any political party. Just get that straight. Of course, we have a president-elect who will be inaugurated in a few weeks' time. Yeah. But however, Colin Martin, you talked about we having a northern president who the southern part didn't really feel his impact. But when President Goodluck Jonathan was in power, we had projects channeled towards the north. We have Alemajiri School being built in some part of the north, and of course, so many investments were there.
Every state of the
north, big construction, taking children out of the streets. Now, do you think there should be call, or because the clamor for restructuring is resurfacing again?
No.
Is there any need for us to restructure this country?
That is why I must be very valid at every point that I give. Because I like, even when people try to make references. Now, he talked about no success in anything, which you and I know is false. Now, let me even go close. Let me come very close. Let me even forget the north.
Bring it close, bring it.
Bringing it close, one. The second Niger bridge. The second Niger bridge. That successive governments, even when the Eastern brothers had theirs as either vice president, had theirs as Senate president consistently, were unable to champion.
But there were records on ground that the second Niger Bridge, PDP kickstarted that project.
You kickstarted without the foundation? Why do you kickstart paperwork? Do you know how many paperwork in government that they have collected the money and that was really completed?
Okay.
Almost completed? See, we are here. Now, I just wanted to out on that. Now, when we talk about him succeeding or not succeeding, one man's food is another man's poison. You highlighted that in Jonathan's administration, that he did a lot of projects or some projects in the north. So what stopped him from doing in the south where he come from? Now, that is what I'm saying. He was a president for all, and then had people either from each region to assist him in drawing that development to their people. Okay. And that was why a lot of these institutions I talked about were created. My other brother had an occasion in one of the creek after Otweke. I went through there about 3, 4, 5 years ago, precisely. Even the road passing to Mr. President Jonathan's house and that of his wife in Otweke, part of it are not tied. The only thing you will make as an assessment on that road is the army checking point that are there just because a former president's own roots. Now, are you not going to tell me that it was a northern agenda that caused that? No. I even took a peek at the Otweke University, which was like 8 flats, 4 flats here, 4 flats here. I took pictures there in front of Otweke University. So are you not going to blame me or blame the northern people for that? That is what I've just said. They had a minister, for example, that came from Bayelsa at that time, who would have continually facilitate development there.
Okay, Collins.
Remind the president that you have to come there.
We'll take a short break now, then we'll be back. We'll continue on the discussion.
The new Milo 3-in-1 Milky and Creamy is truly milky and contains calcium. No need to add milk for that rich, creamy cup, which helps to nourish and energize your kids. Milo!
All right, thank you so much for staying with us. While we went on that break, you still had the floor.
Yes, what I was trying to say is that government encompasses. Governance is not a one-man show. But that not to say that you must always remember where you come from. Ministers, NDDC, Niger Delta Ministry, to the extent they now created Northern Ministry for one thing, different because they knew that those are the areas that people can directly feel government impact. Because there are votes into all of those institutions, all those agencies. Now when we find ourselves, Jonathan all through had a free time. There was no violence in the south now, for example, that would have said, oh, maybe because of insurgency that was also going on in his village or in Edo, that was where they could not give us one flyover, or that was why they could not give us good infrastructure, or by way of even empowerment. Even if, for example, it was a northerner or some other president who were leading, when they were saying they were doing amnesty, we have seen many amnesty that took place in the north. Whether you are a militia, you are not a militia, they pack all the youth names there. So long you are unemployed, it was an opportunity to engage and empower their youths or their jobless categories. But you won't have that here. Okay. So can we go and be blaming the president for that?
All right, let's leave that alone. The president actually is leaving, and he's actually said he's retiring back to Cameroon, so where he came from. All right, but that's
his hometown.
That's by the way. Benedict Ochiago, which area do you think the president-elect should focus on after May 29th?
Well, all the areas. Nigeria is a sick entity right now because we have people that has run the country over the years with a very dangerous mindset. And the team set up is not a prosperous team. And so you would expect the president-elect, even though I don't have any confidence in him, because he's a continuation of the wrong trajectory, the president-elect. They installed this current government And right now, the man that championed that installation is taking over. And again, you would understand that the major problem that Nigeria is having right now, it's not even the infrastructural issues, it's not even the things we can see, it's division. Nigeria is more divided right now.
Created by
under a tribal line, regional line, and whatever. Nigeria is very divided, and we cannot have a nation like this. And so if, and it's quite unfortunate that the president-elect, under a very heavy controversy, the most unpopular president-elect in Nigeria history since 1999, very, very unpopular. And that accounts for just 8 million votes for a president-elect.
Asiwaju Ahmed Tinubu has been in the political space.
He has been there. But this is the first time since 1999 that a president that will most likely maybe rule the country is having 8 million votes, just a fraction above 8 million votes. That means that he's very, very unpopular.
So that's based, according to your assessment.
He is very, very unpopular.
He's the one that got 5 million that is popular.
And again, we are not trying to make comparison. We are talking about his status.
You are scandalizing others to prove a point.
Collins Amadi.
You can't say you're not a member of party when you just come on air with different motives.
Collins Amadi, this is a national television.
No, it's okay. I'm just trying to guide him so that he will not make
it's a live program.
Otherwise.
Please, quick round up, Benedict.
Yeah, you see, Mr. Collins, I think you should know that I'm entitled to my opinion here. And that is what it is. And so we will expect, but also looking at the antecedents, because right now, if it is the strategy of about 20 years ago, you will say he can do one thing. One of the problems that Nigeria had with this administration is that we had a very, very precarious situation with the man in terms of affairs, especially at the beginning of his always traveling for health treatment and all of it. It was just about 3 years ago that he stayed here. And the same thing has started, the trajectory has started with the president-elect. And so now you would expect that will continue. That is my opinion.
Okay.
That I'm not expecting anything, prosperity much from this current administration. I will be shocked. I expect that he surprises us, because this is a man that has an antecedent for weakening institutions. That is the president-elect. And what we are lacking, what our problem right now is that our institution has been weakened terribly. Individuals has been empowered above institutions. And the countries where they take their children to, what makes the countries prosperous and a working system is that the institutions are working. But they go there, they enjoy the nations and the systems there. They come here, they weaken our institution, empower individuals, and continue the trajectory. That is why I'm not expecting so much
come back to you. But just to let our viewers know that any opinion expressed on this program is the opinion of our guests. It doesn't have anything to do with independent television whatsoever. And of course, for the record, the president actually said he's going back to Daura or Niger Republic now to rest after his administration. Now let's come back to you, Collins Amadi.
Now,
Collins Amadi, you want to react to what he said?
Probably. I will certainly react before I begin the question.
The president-elect said it's a renewed hope. Renewed hope from where to where? Nigerians are asking this question. Now, and it seems you are a spokesperson, a spokesman of the president-elect. So renewed hope from where?
Now, at a time, we'll agree that for a very long time, Nigerians have always cried. We have never had time where we have said, I am coming now, you ask a question. You didn't interject him. We have over the time never ceased to lament in this country.
Okay.
Let me even take off the pre-democracy era. From democracy downward, 1999, as every government had come, we have always had to lament. And there's no doubt about that, because governance is continuity, and the people must continue to ask for a better style of governance, for a better way of life. And by so doing, as a people, we must continue to demand. We must continue to see others who are doing better than where you are and ask for a better one. Based on that, Nigerians must always see one or two things to identify that we have not achieved and putting those we have elected on their toes to make us achieve even or better. So it's nothing new if we say or if some people say. But the problem I have is, quote and unquote, when you tag people with strong hatred, like you saw many clergy assumingly said, or were on TVs saying people are wearing pampers, people cannot raise up their hand, this one cannot be. Now none of those pastors have been arrested though. Some have even said that this president-elect can never be sworn in. Some have vowed until tomorrow. Now they have not arrested anybody. But if it were, some persons will start crying foul that they are trying to fight the voice of the people, even when your voice ordinarily shouldn't bring about treasoning.
The renewed hope.
I am coming. I will come there.
Yes.
Now somebody had won, and you started with your statement by if he ever rules or if he rules, you don't have confidence in him, you don't believe he will, and you start health matter. Among all of us, who among us doesn't treat health issues, for example? Who among us doesn't visit hospital once in 7 months? There are mosquitoes in Africa. I am coming. Even malaria can make you treat yourself. So none of these that you are seeing one traveling and he tells you, oh, I am going for medical health or issues. These are people who have business all over the world. So I can have business in Abuja, and I've not been to Abuja for 1 year or 6 months. I decide to also go back and take inventory of my business that's going on in Abuja. Does that mean I've gone for health tourism? So sometimes we should argue in a way that even God himself will forgive us when we sin. And he said the outgoing president made an apology. It is normal. Everywhere you walk, no matter how best you have succeeded, people, there must be 1 or 2 persons within that ministry that may not like you all over the time. And when you are leaving, it is a way of farewell. If there be anyone I have offended during my course of administration, I hope and I pray that you let go and forgive me. Because that is, even God himself at the time asked among his disciples that if there are areas where you have not done well, please, they should understand. So I don't think anything was different about that. And saying if others forgive, you will not forgive. Are you the only citizen in this country? What has it done particularly that you will not forgive? Now, that is on one side. Now you talked about renew hope. When we say renew hope, everyone has a slogan when you want to appeal to the people. His own matriarch was that at a time, hope were diminishing. We want to bring in
this administration.
Generally, even in the world as it were.
Okay.
Citizens all over the world right now have completely lost hope in the world system. From the United Nations, from the ECOWAS, just name them, from the EU, where they cannot even stand by their brothers to fight very little issues, where only one country is holding almost all the country ransom, for example. Are you telling me the world doesn't need a renewed hope when Russia is holding the whole country ransom, the whole world ransom, for example?
But they say charity begins at home.
I am coming, the Palestine and the Israeli war, the Sudan issue, ordinary Sudan that cannot even feed themselves, Sudan, the whole world is running and packing the people. Ordinarily, where AU, African Union, will appear with ECOMOG. And with one hand, nobody will fight anymore. But today, where is ECOMOG? Where is AU? Where is the United Nations? Where is the peace committee, the peace corps? Where are they? Are you telling me that the world doesn't need a renewed hope? We need it, not only in Nigeria. So now he has said, let charity start from here by saying, I want to renew our hope. Let us come together and have a renewed hope. What is the hope? Believing in our country again. Believing in Africa again. And probably our own prayer now is that, Father, if this man indeed have this in mind, to renew our hope and that of our children, please make it come to reality. Because let me tell you, who rule as a person is not the benefit you are looking for. The working institution is what concerns you, where your children will inherit from. So if you have that pessimistic view about someone and you continually to let go, you may end up dying instead of seeing the person dying. Because that is what life is all about. We must manage our anger, our issues. I was telling one of my friends a few days ago, I said there's a particular my friend. He's so stingy and the way he behaves politically is so myopic. But he keeps growing. I said, I don't have a choice, so I have to just be praying for him at his level so that I will not go and use my personal feelings to hurt my own future. Because that's ordinarily what life is all about.
Okay.
So my prayer is that which he already has on table, to renew our Nigerian hope economically, to improve on our security. We know it's not a one-day job. We know he needs a team that must sit around him to let this happen. Right. We pray that circumstance does not take over the day. Those who believe that we made the government happen, for that reason, they must also be the one in charge at different ministries.
Okay, Collins,
because he will not be everywhere.
We'll come back to you. But Benedict Chago, there are so many controversies surrounding the health of the president-elect. And to an extent, his team or representative, they've not really come out to debunk some of the statements. And these informations are just finding themselves into the public domain. Don't you think that should be a source of concern to Nigeria?
Yeah, definitely. The reason why it's becoming a source of concern is that once he is the president-elect, and once you become a president of a nation of over 200 million people, everything about you comes into public scrutiny. Everybody should understand this. There's nothing private about Asiwaju right now. In order to Senate climb, even your mail will be checked. That is how it is run. He knew all of these things before he bought the form and to apply for the job. And now he has landed the job. And so what we are saying right now is that we don't want a repeat of what happened in this current administration. Because I love Nigeria. I am in Nigeria. I have spent my life here so far. I am a Nigerian and I love this country. I love this country so much. Everybody around me knows how much I love, and I want this nation to work. It's not about who is the president. It's about who will help us build a tech system right now. Now, in terms of agenda setting, for example, Twitter in the United States was sold for $44 billion. What do we have? What tech system do we have? Even though we have young people that can be able to create this, do we have that will be able to make such amount of money from here? Even anything, even to 1 billion. We are not looking into that direction. Everything you see is about oil and we have the environment, we have the people. Just when the cash crunch happened, we discovered that we don't have a tech system in Nigeria. The banks were struggling to meet up with even mobile transfer, mobile app. That is a huge failure. And that's why I will look at that. The incoming administration should look at. The world is driven by tech right now. That is what we should be looking at economically if we want to have economic prosperity. And also looking at how we can unite the nation. You see, he talked about me hating on Asiwaju. I'm not hating on him as an individual. It's because of his position right now as a president-elect and also his antecedent as an individual, because he is known for building individuals instead of building institutions. Okay. And the records are there to show. You understand? And what we need, what we are crying for right now, what we are yearning for is to build a prosperous institution and system that Nigerians can benefit from. And that's what we want, as he is coming in, to come and do. And like I said, personal opinion, that I don't have such belief in him, but I'm also wishing that he surprises me. I'm also wishing that
this is going to be your final take on this program. 20 seconds, because we need to take our next guest right now. On the next
yes, he talked about not having confidence because the man is building. He said he's building people, he's not building institution. Who then can build institution more than a man who, when he became a governor in Lagos, he was able to build an architectural stand that subsequent government that came thereafter had consolidated upon, and the successes are there to see everywhere. The individual, you said, good, he built individual. Now, for those who have ruled us before, how many human beings can we point out that they grew and they built, yet they didn't build institution? But this is the man, that's me. You are not, you are not going to verify, as my friend says.
Let me pause you. I'm sorry I had to pause you. You said he built Lagos State and successive governments are building it. Why is it that he still had interest? He still have an interest in Lagos State government.
Very dangerous.
Now, to an extent, since he left office, he has been the next governor of Lagos State. Actually, come from his table.
Now,
how do we strike a balance?
Now, let me talk to you.
Talk to me.
In Rivers State, Odili built an institution there.
Okay.
He brought in people like Amechi to work with him, and after which Amechi took over from. Amechi later also became a governor, and jettisoned most of the policies of Odili, and never had a rethink that this man was part of those who mentored him at the time. Then he left. Wike had come. Wike remembered from his school of thoughts that This was his mentor, somebody who he started working with. Thereafter, have encouraged him and went back to most of the things, both infrastructure that Odili were building, and consolidated. And today we have a Rivers that all of us are envious of. Even if your friend comes from abroad, you don't want to bring him to Edo, you can take him to Rivers State because you are still in Nigeria and make him feel good and look around.
Saying Edo State is not good looking enough for people to come in.
No, that on one side. But I'm just trying to say, yes, I'm just trying to say because we already have something to look at.
Okay, we are wrapping up
now. Asiwaju built human being. Agreeably, that's what we want. When you build people, he build others by different way, by good building. That is why you saw what's happening. And that is what I want to replicate here. He talked about tech.
Okay.
He talked about tech. I am coming. Now you must understand who brought the revolution of tech. Tech system that ever came to Nigeria. Let me just land here now.
We don't have time again. We don't have time again.
IGR of Lagos State, they started it with tech revolution. That was why they got to where they are.
Thank you, gentlemen. I'm afraid this is how far we can go.